Okay, I'm here with Zoe. She's going to teach me how to clean my Weatherby. I have a Weatherby Camilla. And cleaning your gun and what you need to clean it with, very gun specific. So she's going to take us through everything that we need.
Okay, so whenever you're cleaning a firearm, make sure it's unloaded in a safe position and you have no live ammo around. Okay, so basics of what you're going to need. You're going to be cleaning out your bore. You're going to be cleaning out your chamber. In this case, since it's a bolt action, you're going to be cleaning out your bolt for just kind of a non-in-depth field clean. For that, you're going to need a cleaning rod that is over the length of your barrel. These JDB ones are really nice because they have a nylon coating on the outside, so you're not going to mar anything. You're going to need to make sure you have your cleaning rod adapter, should come with your kit, and you're going to make sure that you have at least one brass cleaning brush that is in the proper size for what your rifle is chambered in. You're going to need a solvent. Hoppies is a good just general one. You can get into more specific things if you're trying to dissolve carbon or you're trying to dissolve copper, but Hoppies will get you generally there. You're going to need an oil to rehydrate everything afterwards. True Blue is a great one, and it comes with this little precision fitment on the top for being able to put oil just where you want it. I always like to have at least 1 or 2 clean rags. In this case, we're going to be covering Erica's scope so it doesn't get any splatters of cleaning solution on it. And then you're going to need some patches. Again, this is caliber specific. If you buy oversized, you can always cut them down. But if you buy too small, you're going to have to layer them, or it gets a little awkward sometimes with them getting jammed in your barrel. Okay, another thing you're going to want to have is a cleaning brush. I really like these ones from Otis. They have different bristles. You have blue here, which is a little bit more coarse. You have a clear bristle, which is softer. You can get into stainless steel and copper as well, but with those you want to be careful because if you are going at it too heavy with stainless steel, you can actually remove your bluing. So use those, the nylons, if you are wanting to be safe. PPE, solvents are not fun in your eyes, so even though it's a little dorky, I would suggest safety protection for your eyes. When you are cleaning a rifle, you can choose to do it just bare bones on a flat surface, or you can use any of these handy little vices. This is just a tipped-in collapsible range vise. It's not going to hold it totally steady, but it's at least going to get you upright so that when you are running your cleaning brush through, you're not having to stabilize this as much as you would if it's just loose. Personally, since I have a barrel with me, I like to use my trusty vise. Whenever you're using a vise and you're cleaning a rifle, make sure you have soft jaws so you're not going to mess up your finish. And then you are just going to tighten that guy in. So now I have one less moving piece and the rifle is secured for cleaning. For a bolt action rifle, first thing you're going to do is after it's cleared is you're going to remove your bolt. So for this guy, we're just going to remove it, press our bolt release. That guy comes out. You can see there's quite a bit of copper fouling going on there. We're going to set that aside after we put a little bit of solvent on it so it can be working while we're cleaning the barrel. We are going to put a little bit of solvent just on her bolt so that can sit while we're cleaning her barrel. I like to do this in a small container. You can use plastic. You can do this directly on a cleaning mat. If you have one of those, it's solvent proof, just something to contain your mess. So for this, I'm going to just put a tiny bit of Hoppies on her brush. Just lightly wipe down her lugs so it gets a little bit of solvent on there. I'm going to just get a little bit on the face. I'm not trying to scrub anything off particularly at this stage. I'm just trying to have the solvent work for us time-wise while we're doing other things. Okay, so preparing your cleaning brush. Usually a new one will come with this little handy thread protector. Keep that or don't, personal preference, but you're going to want to put on your brass adapter, which is going to put your male brush to give you a female for your brass brush, or nylon brush, or jag, whatever you're using at the time. Okay, so cleaning a barrel comes down to personal preference sometimes. General rule, you always want to be pushing from your chamber towards your muzzle. You don't want to be pushing from your muzzle towards your chamber. I personally like to start out with a jag. So I'm going to put that on our cleaning brush. To start, we're going to saturate one of our patches here with solvents. That is going to be our Hoppies in this case. And then we're going to push that through from chamber to muzzle to just get solvents all in your barrel channel, in your lands and grooves. We're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes before we move on to the next step with our brass brush to start loosening. So we got solvents on there. Now we're going to thread this through. We're going to wipe that all down after, so it doesn't matter if you get a little stuff going on your stock or the rest of your action. That's all going to get wiped after. Now that we're in the barrel channel, I'm slowly pushing it through. I'm holding my rod so that you can see it spinning as it's engaging with the rifling. The rod itself is moving, and then it's coming out this other end. You can see a little bit of the carbon and grime build up on there. We're going to pop that off, and then we can remove our rod from the opposite side. Okay, so we've let this soak. with some solvent on there, and then we did a little scrubbing with our brush. While it still has the solvent on there, if you have an air compressor available to you, this would be the stage where you're gonna blow off your solvent with your schmutz and stuff, that's all your dirty stuff in the solvent, and then we're gonna dry it afterwards. We're trying not to get anything in our firing pin channel, so never blow towards the hole in the middle there. We're just going to wipe this off to get residual solvents and goop off before we re-lubricate. Now that it's been about 10 minutes and we've let the solvent soak in our bore, we are going to move on to brushing and loosening up any of that stuff in there. So I'm going to add just a little bit more poppies onto the bristles here. And then we are going to run this through again. You always want to go chamber to muzzle. And it's engaging with the rifling. You can see it spinning. It's going to pop out the opposite side. And we're going to remove our brush so that we can pull our rod back through and repeat that process 10 to 15 times.
Go ahead. All right, I'm going to try doing it myself. Zoe's a good instructor. Did you see all that? Did you see all that powder that came out?
That's the solvent spraying off of the bristles of your cleaning brush.
Oh, it's like poof. Yep. Should I do it again or no?
You can do it again. And don't breathe in the poof.
I want to be a gunsmith like Zoe. Should have gone into the trades. I really should have.
You still can, Erica.
I'm too old.
I had people at school
washed
when I
up.
was going. They were in their 60s.
Really?
They were much older than you.
Okay, I'll try just that. All right. Okay.
So now that Erica ran her brush through about 10-15 times, everything should be loosened up. Her lands and grooves. So we are going to add a little bit more solvent onto our jag and patch, and we're going to run that through just to try to flush everything out before we then go in with a dry patch 1 or 2 times to see how clean her barrel is. Okay, so I'm pushing the solvent patch through. We're going to see what it looks like on the other end. Pretty dirty. So we're just going to pop that guy off. Pull our jag back through. Now we're going to move on to a clean patch. With the dry patches, we might not get to pure white just because we're not going to parts wash or clean with this. I'm going to get it so that it doesn't have any of that kind of dark, a lot of that dark residue like the patch we just saw. Now we're going to move on to uncovering our scope and just wiping out the receiver and relubricating our bolt and receiver. Okay, so for this one, we're going to drop out her bottom metal just so that her magazine follower and everything is open so we can wipe out inside of her receiver. For cleaning your chamber, you can use a special chamber brush which will have the size of your barrel and then have a wider section to clean out your chamber, or you can get away with using a shotgun brush. This one is nylon, so it's not going to be marring, and I'm just going to use it to just loosely wipe in there because she just has a little bit of copper fouling. So I just ran a patch with solvent on her chamber. We're going to let that sit for a little bit, let the solvent work. We did not add enough solvent that you're getting weird drips places or anything like that since we're doing a in-stock cleaning. You still want to keep it pretty minimal with your liquids. Okay, so for this stage of cleaning, we've had our solvent sitting. Now we're just going to go in with clean patches and we're going to wipe out all of our solvents, all of our copper residue, all of the carbon that's in there, and then we're going to go in and lubricate. Okay, so I'm going to dry patch. I'm just using my makeshift nylon bristle brush. It's a 12 gauge brush. You can buy an actual bore brush if you fancy. So, not bad. And at the very end of this, we're going to run one last through your bore because we are putting a little bit of solvents in your chamber right now, and I want to just make sure your bore is clean and dry at the very end of cleaning. At this stage, we're just cleaning up any solvent splatter that was anywhere on the outside of the action. Down on your magazine follower, you just want to wipe all that off so that you're getting anything dirty off your gun. We are to the moisturization element of today's cleaning process. For this bolt action, main section that you're going to be wanting lubricant on is your bolt lugs. We're just going to do a light coat of the entirety of the bolt for protection since Erica's going to be going out hunting. You do not want to get oil on the face of your bolt. You do not want to get oil into your chamber or down your barrel. So make sure that you are not over lubricating. There are areas you do not want oil. I'm just going to do a light coat down, and then you're going to just rub it in, give it a nice shine, as Jeff would say. Nice coverage. Oh, bolt. She's ready to go.